What's a good job for introverts who only have a high school diploma? If you're also a night owl, I'd say look at nearly any third shift job. Most people don't choose it and most people are asleep then, so talking interaction is quite limited. Warehouse. When I worked in one, I used to regularly go hours without talking to anyone else. Night stocking for a retail store. 95% of the night is just listening to music while stocking by yourself. I have a friend who is a deep introvert that works in classifications, in that she has to watch a bunch of television and tick off lists to figure out what classification they should have, G, PG etc. She gets to watch most popular shows at least 2 weeks in advance and does it in the remotest part of the building by herself. She also has to sit through a lot of European art movies and gore flicks, which meshes well with her interest in serial killers. Fire tower watcher for the National Park Service. Months of just you and your lonesome and a bunch of trees. Custodian. A factory with equipment loud enough to make earplugs mandatory. It's hard as hell to hear anyone talking over the machines, and that forces extroverts to keep conversations to the bare minimum. This is the only job I've had where being an introvert felt like an advantage. Just about any job working with animals. I'm a kennel attendant for the Humane Society in my area. Listen to music for 9 hours. Clean kennels and cages. Feed water the dogs and cats. No human interaction. Data entry. Amazon shopper at Whole Foods $15 HR to do someone's grocery shopping. Tree planter. 8-10 hours alone in the middle of the bush. Incredible pay if you're a hard worker and it keeps you in amazing shape. I walk dogs. Other than meeting the parents the first time, I don't talk to anyone. I have audiobooks going all the time. Plus I get puppy snuggles for like 6 hours a day. This was a thread I didn't know I needed. Insurance claims processing. I know a lot of introverted people who do this for a living. Through having worked it myself for 5 years. Depending on the company and your location, there is a chance that you will eventually be allowed to just work from home, as long as you meet performance expectations and the quality of internet that can be connected to your place of residence. A local funeral home director hires just such people to serve as pallbearers and to assist at the parlor in a variety of ways. He pays them well. Most of their work time is in silence, except for running the vacuum in the coffin viewing areas. From what I heard, stocking jobs or working in warehouses. Overnight stocker. Yes, even in a place like Walmart, it'll suffice. Because it's overnight. Not a lot of people are around save for co-workers and management. You barely talk to anyone and you can focus on work. What sucks though, is that they don't allow you to have music on. Inst justo merci on me they say. What? One customer coming to me once every 6 hours past? Shortly before I'm leaving from work? I mean come on. I'm sitting here working from home. I'm a virtual assistant. I make shipping arrangements, pay bills, get quotes for different things, make up invoices. All the same bullshit everyone else with an office job does. But I get to stay home and watch YouTube and not wear a bra while I do it. Medical transcripts. You listen to the DRS notes and type them out. I mow lawns. Really the only time I talk to my customers is when I first meet them. After that it's mostly texts. I average about $25 an hour after expenses, and since I live in the south I work 9.5 or 10 months out of the year. I enjoy the downtime it lets me reset. Trucking. 100%. Good pay floor between 40 and 50k a year at the start and a great pay ceiling upwards of 100k. Depending on what you do. Automation is decades away from being a major factor. If you're cool being on your own, it's one of the best careers that doesn't need any secondary education. Good way to see the country as well. You need to be over 21 to work in trucking interstate. If you're under, look into local companies that don't cross state lines to get experience. Night security. Garbage collection. Good pay, little education needed, and the smell keeps people away. Freelance something, Upwork, Fiverr, and even LinkedIn are all great places to use to look for clients who will pay you to do something, as long as you have some kind of creative technical skill. And AMP, X200B, source. I didn't get to finish college and I make good money working as a freelance content writer while working at home. Factory work is easy to get into and usually once in the door mobility is possible. It's not great but you can leave it at the door in the way out each day. In the US, medical coder, lots of opportunities, decent if not incredible pay. You can get certified within a year of training. After a couple of years experience, a decent coder can often work from home. Some interaction is required, but twice the pay of many jobs listed here. Warehouse, specifically a loader or unloader or a picker packer. Glorious job where I felt I was in heaven even whilst doing physical labor. Just me and my packages. I have a sneaking suspicion this guy is using this thread for his own life. I do merchandising. I work for companies who hire people to display their products in store. Of course, there's always people around while you work. But you work alone. No teamwork at all. Medical scientific illustrator. It's a super small, niche field. You'll draw stuff for nerds and won't talk to many people besides those nerds. Trail crew in state parks. Legit work from home gigs do exist. Try Upwork sometime. I may have gotten lucky, but I landed my current 40-hour-a-week job through Upwork. Pro tip with that one. See if you can land a few ongoing contracts. You'll wind up paying less of a percentage of your earnings to Upwork if you can pick up a few long-term gigs. I think a lot of people here are confusing introvert with antisocial or social anxiety. If the thought of talking to a person brings you great discomfort and you dread a job where you may potentially have to speak with someone, then I have news for you, friend. You're not an introvert. You probably just have social anxiety. I'm an introvert myself, but I don't bust into a cold sweat and stumble over my words if I see a person, nor do I go out of my way to avoid as much human contact as possible. Edited to be more precise. Being an introvert is needing time after some socializing to relax, recharge and continue on with the day. Not being scared you might talk to someone in an 8-hour period. Probably going to get downvoted for this, but it really does need to be said. I see way too many people in this thread genuinely terrified they might actually have to have human contact in their shift at a job, and it's really scary to think about. There's nothing wrong with social anxiety or being antisocial, but putting the blanket of introvert on it is misleading and wrong. FQA testing. Usually only available in big cities, so that might be a factor. My brother never finished high school and works as one. Basically you play video games and write reports. That's about it. They usually have the perks, as in fun work environment of software development jobs. I'm actually gonna be starting there this summer. Depends on what you like to do. If you want a white-collar desk job, I'd find anything that has education benefits and get a bachelor's degree for free that way. Computer science, study programming, offers some great opportunities to have minimal contact with people if you can communicate well via email. Alternatively, you could get into something like construction, get certified to operate large machines, and be surrounded by noise all day. No need to have awkward conversations over a diesel engine. Night shift security guards are another option if you can find the openings. They tend to pay a bit more, minimal interaction with people, and can be sort of cushy if it's not a high stakes one. I know one guy who completed a novel doing this. Watchmaker. Only took me 1 year in a free trade school and was given a job at graduation for 50k a year plus benefits and all. Welding is a pretty quick course that a lot of companies will pay you to do the course. And AMP X200B. I know a guy who got paid to take his welding course, then graduated into a 80k year job. Taking commissions via DeviantArt to draw cartoon porn. Definitely custodian, janitor, envy on whatever the company calls it. If you're a night shift person, you can pretty much go the entire shift without talking or interacting with someone. I work the night shift in an ice cream factory, and I barely talk to anyone. It's loud enough on the production floor to require hearing protection. But for me it's because the most common language spoken among the night shift workers is Spanish or Arabic. Security. Get the swing or graveyard shift. You'll barely have to talk to anyone. I did it for a while, and it was super easy. Of course, it depends on your location and what you're guarding. But if it's just an admin building like I did, it's super easy and you don't have to talk to anyone.